Hey folks, welcome back to the Leeds View News for an updated news. We've done a live stream, but I've only found out after we came off that apparently the microphone had disconnected and the audio wasn't right. So I thought I'd jump back on now and do a brief update on the breaking news that has come out today on two potential deals for Leeds. We now know that the Facundo Buonanotte deal to Leeds United is off and that the deal has collapsed. I'll give you the update on what's been said on that, as well as Gustavo Hamer, who now looks like he could be very much on his way to Elland Road. We'll start off with the Facundo Buonanotte deal and bring you up to speed on what has happened so far in the last 24 hours on this deal, as Leeds seem to have been victim of an Igor Paixão Part 2 situation, as has been said very well by Graham Smith on X today. On Buonanotte, the deal was apparently agreed last night and he was due to fly into Leeds, and the story that we got late last night was that he didn't fly out due to logistical issues and flight issues, and it was being replanned for him to fly in today. Reports this morning said that the deal was in doubt, but that Leeds were still in it and that Strasbourg were mentioned as a potential option for the player. Strasbourg, who are owned by Blueco, who also own Chelsea. I was told the same thing, but then Fabrizio Romano then tweeted out that Chelsea were in active negotiations for Buonanotte and Leeds were out of the deal. Baron Cross in The Athletic then posted that the deal was off and Leeds were out of the equation. Leeds are now starting to find out, I think, where we sit in the overall pecking order when it comes to transfers, especially when we're up against clubs like Marseille with Champions League football and Chelsea also with Champions League football and Club World Cup champions as well. Strasbourg missed out on Enciso, and that's where the link to Buonanotte came from there. But also Chelsea were interested in Xavi Simons, and that deal collapsed when he went to Spurs, so they then pivoted to get Facundo Buonanotte. In the piece in The Athletic, Baron Cross says that Chelsea are closing in on a loan move for the attacker, which is an unusual move for a player who probably wouldn't be expecting to play a huge amount of games, or at least be a bench player for them at this point, after an entry-level season in the Premier League last year with Leicester. Leeds were said to have had the flight booked for Buonanotte last night, but he never boarded that flight. Brighton and Leeds were in talks about keeping the player in the Premier League because that would maintain his homegrown status, which was due to expire in January. Leeds were confident enough that this deal would get done that Leeds in fact booked a medical for the player today. Obviously that didn't happen because he didn't get on the plane. Chelsea lost out on Xavi Simons. They've now gone for that, and Leeds could be pivoting in a different direction themselves. Barron said that Leeds have got other interests also. Bilal El Khanous still being mentioned. Delana Bakwe is also being mentioned. Edouard Spurgeon is a name that has popped back up, having not been mentioned with Leeds for several months now, but is an exciting option as well to come in. Manor Solomon's name also been thrown into the mix, but he's a left-sided player who comes into his right foot. Leeds have plenty of them now, and Leeds really need someone who can operate on the right-hand side and come in on the left foot, and someone who can potentially play as a number 10. That might bring us to Gus Hamer in a minute. The full piece in The Athletic reads as follows. Chelsea are closing in on an agreement over a loan move for Facundo Buonanotte after Leeds saw their move for the Brighton and Hove Albion attacker collapse. Leeds had a flight booked on Thursday afternoon to bring Buonanotte to West Yorkshire, but he never boarded. Brighton have been in talks with Leeds for a loan move that kept the Argentinian international in the Premier League, which would secure him his homegrown status from January. The top flight newcomers were confident that the deal would take place, with the club and player agreeing with a medical being booked for Buonanotte's arrival. However, is the club world champions, who now seem poised to sign Buonanotte, who registered 6 goals and 3 assists in 35 games on loan for Leicester last season. Chelsea had been seeking an attacking midfielder and were interested in Red Bull Leipzig's Xavi Simons, who has now agreed to move to Tottenham Hotspur. Barcelona's Fermin Lopez was another target for Chelsea, who expected Christopher Nkunku to join AC Milan. The 11th hour collapse of Leeds' deal leaves them short of options as transfer deadline day approaches. Daniel Farke has made no secret of his desire to see attacking reinforcements before Monday's 7 p.m. deadline. Bilal El Khanous, Dylan Bakwa, Edwin Spurgeon and Manor Solomon are all players that are known to have interest from Leeds. That's the piece from Baron Cross, but that doesn't really fix the situation right now. We've got to deal with this and move on. But Leeds may be moving on very quickly. There were reports earlier this week that we brought you early in the week that said that Leeds could be trying to get a deal done for Gustavo Hamer over the course of the weekend. Reports have now come out that suggest that this deal could be getting very, very close to being done. Leeds, for me, would still need at least one more player in before the window in order to fully complete that attacking profile, whether it's a number 9 or a number 10 who can play there. Kristantis Uche has been talked an awful lot about. He can play as an 8, a 10 or a 9. Big physical, young player. Definitely a box-to-box profile, which would be of benefit to Leeds, but it's not confirmed whether Leeds are actively pursuing a move for him. On Gustavo Hamer, there are some reports coming out today that Leeds are very much interested in a move for him. One report suggests that it will be a loan move until the end of the season, with an obligation for Leeds to buy between 15 to 20 million pounds. PSV Eindhoven are also said to be interested in the player and have held interest in him all summer. One report that's come out today says that two sources have said that this deal for Gus Hamer is almost done, with final details being worked on currently between the clubs. Wages, not an issue for Leeds at this point, and there will be more information on this to follow up on pretty soon. So right now it appears that Leeds still need to bring in two players. Gus Hamer offers Leeds a couple of things, and it will be a split down the middle in the fan base on this. For me, Hamer is a number 8 primarily. He would give Leeds that attacking tempo that's lacking in the side right now, with that sideways passing that we've seen in the last couple of matches. He's a player who can burst forward. He's a very good set piece taker as well, which we are massively lacking. But he can also operate on the wings as well coming in. His disciplinary record is one thing to have a little bit of a look at, but we do know from that he is a full-blooded player and will give everything when he puts a shirt on. He's also got a very close relationship with Jayden Bogle, which might help get this one over the line. He is expected to move. He is expected to go to a better league, whether it be the Premier League or where he goes to PSV in the area division. But he is expected to move on pretty soon before the deadline. Leeds would want to get this one at least done and not see themselves get gazumped by somebody else this close to the end of the window. Daniel Farke will still want at least one more player to come in, whether that is an Edward Spurgeon as a 10 or a wide option there. Could be something they look at. Bilal El Khanous will cost Leeds over £30 million, closer to 35 million if they want to get him done. Kristantis Uche would cost in and around €22 million, and his deal to Wolverhampton Wanderers collapsed after a bit of an issue with the agent George Mendes, if rumours are to be believed. But right now, the deal between Leeds and Brighton and Hove Albion to bring Facundo Buonanotte to Leeds United is off, and Leeds are working on a deal to try and bring Gustavo Hamer into the club. As of that, that's pretty much it at this point for today. There might be more news coming out. We've got a watch along over on bigup.com at 6:30 for the under 21 game. You feel free to come over and join us there, and we will cover the Newcastle United game tomorrow evening as well, and we'll have a warm-up video out tomorrow morning for anyone interested in that. But that's a short update on where we are today. This will probably likely replace this morning's video. I'll put it up and you can have a check out for this if you want to. You're watching it now already. But that'll be it for me, folks. Massive thanks as always for supporting the channel. We'll see where this goes over the next couple of days. Keep the faith, cross your fingers, and we'll see where we go before we start to judge the finality of this window before it's done and dusted. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye.